If you've struggled with stress, balance, or burnout, and simply feel discouraged or even defeated, and if you're ready to move from force to flow and enjoy ultimate Zen success in your career, health, or relationships, then the Zen Success Show is for you. Your host, Carissa Sims, is an entrepreneur, corporate consultant, best-selling author, meditation teacher, and healer who has found her own Zen success. Here's your host, Carissa Sims.
Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Dr. Noah St. John. Hi, Dr. Noah.
Hey, great to see you again, Carissa.
Yes, I'm so happy to have you back on my show.
Great to be back.
Only a few people have wanted to come back, and I appreciate that. Like John D. Yeah, John D. Martini. Mm-hmm. I've had him on a couple times, and Ken Honda. So Mark Victor Hansen. Yeah, so
I'm in good company.
You are in good company, but isn't it interesting? The people that want to come back, that want to be seen, that want to get out there. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Well, I've got a big message to, help a lot of people. So want to make sure to reach as many people as possible.
Yes. And so we do have another recording. I would highly encourage you to listen to the previous episode on getting to seven figures. And I did read that book. So it's an incredible book to get you started. And let me just share a little bit about Dr. Noah. He's known as the Father of AFFORMATIONS, the mental health coach to the stars, working with Hollywood celebrities, eight-figure company CEOs, and professional athletes. Noah is famous for helping people make more in just 12 weeks than they made in the last 12 months, while winning their life back. He's also the author of 24 books. Is that correct, or does it need to be updated?
Nope, 24 is right on the money. Look at that. There they are, some of them anyway.
Okay.
Got some other languages too back here. There's some other languages.
Oh, great. How many
18
languages?
so far.
18. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's exciting. It's great to spread it around the world.
Indeed. Yes.
Including his latest book, Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. There it is.
There it is. There you go.
How to avoid the 3 big money mistakes even smart people make. You can get a free copy. I just got my copy. Just pay shipping and handling. Click on the link in the show notes. And I'm excited to read it. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
So are you financially free?
I am financially free, and I have been for a while. It took a long time to get there, way longer than I would have liked.
Okay.
And, I spent a lot of money, went to a lot of gurus who can't teach their way out of a paper bag, and paid them a lot of money only to find out that there's no there. There's a lot of hot air, a lot of self-promotion, but not much in the way of teaching, coaching, and, really having a system. So, yes, I am financially free, which is nice, because I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood. And so I just figured I'd be poor my whole life because that's what I grew up with, but I hated being poor. I hated it. A lot of people, you hear these speakers, motivational speakers, they'll get on stage and they'll say like, well, we were poor, but we were happy. We didn't know we were poor. Well, in my family, we freaking knew we were poor.
Yeah.
My mother, told us every day that we were poor and miserable. So no, it wasn't happy. It sucked. So I hated being poor, and I always wanted, to be financially free. But of course I didn't know how to do it. And it took me a long time, but finally figured it out.
Oh, that's amazing. And what motivated you to get there? What was there something that was always driving you since a child?
Yes, what I was just saying, that's what I was talking about is, growing up poor in a rich neighborhood really gave me a very interesting perspective, because I know, of course, there's a lot of people who grow up poor in a poor neighborhood, and you really don't know any better, right? Because you only know what you know, right? When you grow up in a family, wherever you grow up, you assume that's how life is and how it's always going to be and how it's meant to be. So, but because I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood, I saw that. Wait a second. Being poor sucks. There is nothing good about it. There's nothing good about it. People talk about, oh, it's more spiritual to be poor. Really? Is it really? And oh, money doesn't buy happiness. Yes, it does. It freaking does. Are you kidding me right now? Of course it does. Now, on the other hand, I will say it is true. There are a lot of miserable millionaires out there.
Yes, I was just going to say that.
Absolutely. And,
they thought it
money
could get them happiness, but
money doesn't cause happiness. That is the distinction that most people forget or don't even realize. Money doesn't cause happiness, but it sure as heck contributes to it. Like I said, growing up poor, when you don't have money, you don't have options. And, when I was working for other people in my 20s, because I grew up before the internet, and, the only real things that there were to make money, so-called back then, was to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. That was pretty much it. And I didn't want to do any of those things. I just, none of those things appealed to me. So I didn't know what the heck to do. So I just went out and got a bunch of survival jobs, which I hated. And I was like, are you kidding me? This is my life. This is going to be the next 40 years. And that's why when I was 25 years old, I decided to commit suicide. I decided to take my own life.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Because I couldn't see it. I'm like, if this is my life, if this is the rest of my life, I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah. And, at the very last moment, and I share this story in my books,
previous interview too.
But, I said, my life was spared at the last moment is the point. And so, but that was really what happened. So yeah, that was the thing for me, the driving force for me was not wanting to end up poor and also wanting to own my own life. Because when I was working for other people, I just felt like I didn't own my life. And I'm not putting down people who have jobs. There's a lot of gurus, and I see this everywhere, and it really annoys me. There's so many gurus that say, man, if you have a job, you're a dumb, and anybody with a job is an idiot. I'm going, that is so rude, number one. And number two, who the hell are you to say what other people should and shouldn't do? There's lots of people that love their jobs. Right.
Or they think there's something like it's better to be an entrepreneur than have a job,
Listen, this is one of the things I tell my clients, and people get upset at me, but it's true, is everything sucks. Everything sucks, right? You just have to pick your suck, right? Because having a job sucks.
Me, but
having a job sucks, and owning your own business sucks. But you just got to pick your suck. Now, of course, I'm being a little facetious.
Yeah, right.
And the reason that I'm saying that is because so many marketers, because what they do is they paint a rosy picture and they say,
That's
it's
true.
all rainbows and unicorns. It's so easy. Just push a button and money comes out. Really? Where's that button, dude? Really?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So I'm being a little tongue in cheek here.
Yeah,
but I want people to realize it's all hard work. It's all, there's no quick fix. There's no easy money. There's no magic button. We would all love that, right? And that's what marketers say, right? If you hear someone saying that, you need to run the other way, because it's like, no, there's always something that you're going to have to do, and it's called work, and people don't like to hear that, of course, but that's the truth.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll just have to counter that by saying you have a do it for you program. What about that?
Oh, absolutely. We have a done for you funnel building service. Okay. We have a done for you book service.
Yes.
So, I mean, and why do we do that? Because it sucks. It's hard work. And so you pay me money and I do it for you. That's how it works. Yes. So instead of you doing all the work, me and my team do the work. So you give me money and we do the work. There. Yeah. So everybody's happy, So, but you see, so
because you have employees that might like working for you, and we need.
That's right. Well, I have a team, and the people who've been with me the longest have been with me over 10 years now. So I mean, I'm a great employer, and I love my team, and I treat them very well because they do a great job. And I mean, on the other hand, sometimes if the person doesn't work out, I say, sorry, this isn't working out, and I have to let them go. That's only happened a few times. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's the thing. Again, the reason that I say these things is, yes, to be a little bit funny and entertaining, but also I do really want to paint a realistic picture for people, which quite frankly is the opposite of what a lot of the gurus do. Hey man, it's easy. Just press a button, make money. It's all, and Okay. No, it isn't. Yes. Now going back to the done for you, that makes it easier.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Makes it
Yeah.
easier. So that's what we want. We want easier. And
Yeah.
I mean, you can argue that everything that I do makes your life easier because I mean,
Mhm.
I tell you how to get rid of your head trash, how to, have better habits, how to have a 7-figure business, and on and on. It's obvious that you give me money, I show you to make things easier, or you don't even give me money, and I still show you anyway, basically, because I'm a nice guy, whatever.
Oh, so nice of you. Well, what do you do? So you're financially free. So what does a day in the life of Noah, Dr.
Yeah.
Noah, look like? Because you're living this life of your dreams.
Well, I'm really glad you asked that because I get asked that question a lot now, actually. And
Okay.
what is really nice is, I mean, I still work because number one, I enjoy it. Number two, there's 8 billion people on this planet. It's pretty obvious that all 8 billion of them have not heard of Noah St. John yet. Gosh darn it. What's wrong with them? Come on, wake up, people. No. Anyways, so I do. I have a lot of people that I still want to help. So that's what really drives me now is wanting to get my message out and wanting more to help more people. I know it's corny. I know. I get it. But that's the truth. I mean, that's why I started my company, successclinic.com 27 years ago now, 1997, in a 300 square foot basement apartment with $800 to my name and a book on HTML way back then. So it was always to help people. It was always to make a difference. And as Steve Jobs put it, to put a dent in the universe.
Mm.
And so, that is what keeps me going. But what's really great is that when I was because I started my company when I was 30 years old. I'm 50. Well, I'm going to be 57 in a couple of weeks as the time of this recording anyway. And
Wow.
a couple of days, actually. Wow. Anyways, so,
Oh my
20,
gosh.
27 years now I've been doing this.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah. And so the point is that I when I was in my 30s and even into my 40s a little bit, but not so much, but mostly my 30s, I mean, I would work 14, 16, 18 hours a day, no problem. I didn't have a wife, I didn't have a family, I was just living all by myself. So I just worked all the time. And then when I got to, when I hit 40, I was like, yeah, getting a little older. I got married at 44, married
Okay.
my wife. We've been married, this is going to be our 13th wedding anniversary coming up. And so um, I don't want to work so much anymore. I don't freaking like working, and I love not working. So
Mhm.
I go, my favorite thing is to just turn off my computers at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and just spend time with my wife. And, we cuddle up by the fire, we watch some TV, whatever it is. And you know what's so funny? Because I look at pictures of me when I was in my 30s and I look at, me now and I'm like, I still look pretty damn good, you know? But I look at some of these gurus who we call them the hustle bros because that's what they do. Hey, hustle and grind, work 14, 16, 18 hours a day. They're in their 40s and they look like shit. And I'm going, sorry. I mean, they don't look so good. And I'm going, dude, you can't just work forever and expect not to pay a price. But that's
They
their
might
thing.
be having health challenges and just not sharing
Exactly.
about it.
Well, they look bad. Dude, I'm not saying you don't look good, man. You look old. And I'm like, I like looking young. And I mean, look, everything's a sacrifice. As I was saying a moment ago, if I wanted to have a multi-billion-dollar company, I would work all the time because sometimes that's what you have to do. I don't care. I just don't care. The money has never been the motivator for me. Never. It was
Yeah.
always to make an impact. Now,
Mhm.
you need freaking money to do that. I mean, you
Yeah.
do.
We
You
live in
must
the
have
physical world,
money.
right?
Yes, we must
Mhm.
have money to do that, but that's never the driver for me. Now, for most of these gurus, I noticed money is the driver. That's pretty much it. Money, money, money. Well, guess what? If that's your driver, that's fine. I'm not saying I'm better than anyone else or they're whatever. It's not a comparison. It's like that's a choice. Okay, money. Okay, if that's your thing, then you're gonna have to sacrifice other things. To me, my most important priority is to be happy, to be peaceful, to have like no stress. You know what I mean? I don't need
Me
the
too.
stress. I don't need it. I don't need it. So,
I love
okay, am
that.
I making, not billions of dollars and all this? Yeah, no, I don't, but I don't care. I don't
Yeah.
care. So
Mhm.
I would rather have the quality of life. That's the decision that I make. Again, I'm not saying that everybody should do it like me. I'm just saying that's a choice that I've made now, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why I wanted to have you back on my show because of that heart, because of
Thank
that
you.
sense of service that you have and
Thank you.
helping people. And that's what this show is all about, moving from force to flow and finding your own version of success.
That's right.
So, what is that to you? And Noah, Dr. Noah can help you be financially free if you choose to. And it might take a little bit of work, right? If you don't hire him
Yeah.
to do it, to do
Well,
it.
let me say this,
for you.
and
Go
going to
ahead.
that point, I
Yes.
really encourage everybody listening, watching this program to put systems in place. Systems are more important than skills. And here's what I mean by that. So we talked a moment ago about my team, right? And I have a team
Yes.
really all over the world. And which is great because, everybody works virtually. I don't need an office. Guess
Yeah.
what?
I love
No,
that.
I work out of my home. I have a
Yeah.
beautiful home. You see, here's my bookcase behind me and so on. It's awesome, and for a while in my 30s, because I was listening to all the gurus. Oh, you got to have an office, you got to have this. I'm like, okay, so I
Mhm.
spent money on an office and all this stuff. And finally I'm going, what are we doing here? This is just, I mean, I don't need this. I work out of your home. So to me, this is great. And all, my employees, and people that work for me, they all work out of their home wherever that is on planet Earth. And it's awesome. We have this wonderful tool called the internet. Hello. So it's just great. And so again, the point I was getting at is systems, right?
Mhm.
Systems beat skills. Systems are more important. And one of the things about the gurus that really also annoys me is that when you listen to their success stories, it's all about themselves.
We'll
They're
focus
basic,
on you. Let's not like rag on them all this time.
well,
Okay.
basically, their only success story is themselves. Whereas when you have a
Ah.
system-driven success,
If you
you
listen to
have
your testimonials, they're
that's
about
right.
your
It's
client.
about the people that your system has helped. That's the point. I would rather brag about my clients than me because if it's only bragging about me, then what do you got? You got a personality. Okay. That's personality driven success. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, but what if I don't have that personality? And guess what? I don't. I don't. I mean, every one of those that I've noticed, I mean, these are friends of mine. So I'm not even ragging on them. I'm not saying anything bad. I'm saying I don't have that personality. So what am I supposed to do?
Hmm.
And the basic answer is, well, sorry, you're out of luck. No, what? Because I'm a shy, quiet, introverted person. No, you're not, Noah. Yes, I really am. I really am. I'm an introvert. But because I'm on an interview right now, I'm being very extroverted. So I'm actually an ambivert. That's a term I just found recently, an ambivert. So I can turn it on and off when I want to.
Oh,
But see, if you were to
interesting.
meet me at a party, you'd think, man, this guy is really just shy. I mean, I'm not going to be the guy with, whatever. No, I don't need the
Oh.
attention on me. In fact, I'm, like in a social setting, I'd rather talk about you,
Mm.
and that's Dale Carnegie 101. But the point is that, again, going back to personality versus systems. If it's a personality and you don't have that personality, well, then you're out of luck. If you have a system-driven success, then anybody can use it. That's why we have teenagers, athletes, CEOs. You mentioned that at the,
Hmm.
Hollywood celebrities, moms and dads and teenagers. It just doesn't matter because when you have a system, that means anybody can do it.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you pretty much have like a 9 to 5 work day, but then do you go on vacations? Like, what do you do for fun in your spare time?
Well, I'm an early riser, so I actually do get up at 6 in the morning,
Mhm.
which is, it's nice. And we absolutely, I love, taking my wife and I on vacations. And, that I have scheduled in. I have a calendar here on my wall. And I've got the entire year scheduled out, including, most importantly, vacations. Because I'm like, come on,
Yay! I love
why
that.
are we making money here? What are we doing?
Yeah.
To me, it's not just, oh, the work, 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 work. And who cares? What are we doing? Why are we doing this? I'll give you a perfect example of this. I love the national parks. Like I'm just a huge
Me
national
too.
parks fan,
Yeah.
right? And if you're, I remember watching that Ken Burns documentary on the national parks, right? I mean, every time that comes on PBS, I'm watching it. I've seen it 100 times. I'll still watch it, and I'm always like crying. And my wife says, "You saw it 100 times." I just thought I get emotional. I'm like looking at Yellowstone,
Oh my God, I love
I'm
that.
crying. And it's like, and so I realized, and she asked me one time, why do you always cry when you watch it? I'm like, I don't know. And I thought about it. I said, why am I always crying at this? And I said, because I want to see these things. It's like, and I haven't been, I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I realized, and in my head, I'm like, oh, someday I'll go. Aha, someday I'll. Noah, you teach this. You teach, there's no place called someday I'll. There is no someday I'll.
Yeah.
And so I said, holy cow, we got to schedule this. If we don't schedule this, I'll be on my deathbed going, man, I never got to see the national parks.
Oh.
And
And
so
that made you cry, like the thought of potentially
yes,
not seeing. Oh my God.
it was very emotional for me. So last year I scheduled it, and this was months and months and months in advance. And it was so great because we did the Arches National Parks. We did the 3 out of the big 5 in Utah:
I love
Arches,
that.
Canyonlands, and Capitol Reef. Capitol
Uh-huh.
Reef is one that most people miss, actually. So we decided to do it. And so my wife and I, we trained for 6 months leading up to this because these are hikes, And so we were out there training. We were up at 6 a.m. We were out. There's a place to walk, near our home, and we were out there with our, walking poles and da 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 da. And 6 months of training, and boom, we got there, and now it's a memory we'll treasure forever. What's the point of the story? The point of the story is if you have a someday I'll, that means it'll probably never happen until and unless you schedule it. You must put it in your schedule, even if it's months or a year away. But you got to have that circled on your calendar, and then make sure that you're taking the action. Because if we had just shown up, if I hadn't done the training, because man, it was strenuous. We were really, really hiking.
Wow.
And I was just thinking, when we were there, I said to my wife, I said, thank God that I trained for this, because man, this is hard. So that's just an example. So put it in your mind, put it on your calendar, make it happen.
Yeah, that's inspiring. I love that. And I love the national parks. I've never been there in Utah, but
It was stunning.
I've been to Zion in Utah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I took my kids there. Do you have kids?
Well, I'm a proud stepdad. So my wife has kids from previous marriages.
Wonderful.
So they're all older. So we have twin daughters that are in their 30s and a son who's in his 20s. And so, I skipped all the diaper stuff. Kind of cool, smart on my part. But no, they're great kids. My wife, she's an incredible mom, and so I get to be a proud stepdad, and they're just great kids.
That's awesome. And where do you live?
In Ohio, Northeast Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're about 10 minutes from the Professional Football Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. If you watch the NFL, they're always talking about, and their next stop is Canton, because that's where the Pro Football Hall of Fame is, meaning, they're going to be a Hall of Famer. And so 1 week out of the year, I live in the coolest city in America, because that's when the pro footballers are here.
Other times you want to go somewhere, go on vacation.
Well, they do a great job. So it's really fun. They have a parade and balloons, balloon festival, hot air balloons, there's hundreds of them. It's really amazing.
Yeah. Seeing the hot air balloons is really special. There's a place where I live, where they go off, and seeing them in the sky is so magical.
Yes.
So let's go into some other topics. So you talk about the unconscious habits of successful people. So what do you mean by that?
One of the things that I realized many years ago, because I studied human behavior for many, many years. Just basically my whole life, because as I mentioned, growing up poor, I hated being poor. I wanted to be wealthy. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to make something of myself. And so I went to the library and read every book in the self-help section, at that time. And I realized that as I was really trying to put these things to work, they weren't working for me. And I'm like, what is missing here? There's something missing. There's something they're not telling us. What the heck is it? And so in 1997, I had these epiphanies after spending an insane amount of, my life just reading and consuming all these books and going, what is missing? What is missing? I realized exactly what was missing. It was literally just a flash of insight. And I realized that highly successful people are doing these habits that are unconscious. And that means, number one, they don't even know they're doing it. And therefore, number two, they can't teach it to us. All right. So we've all read books, I'm sure, like, Think and Grow Rich and The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Now, these are seminal works in self-help, very popular, millions, tens of millions of copies, and they're great books. The problem is this: how come so many people have read books like that and they're still not successful? Well, the reason is because they're talking about conscious habits. And what I mean by that is if you think about an iceberg, right? We humans are very much like an iceberg, right? Meaning there's about 5% that's visible above the surface. That's the conscious mind, the conscious habits, right? That's the 5%, the little piece you can see, whereas the vast 95% is hidden. It's below the surface of consciousness, right? And so what I realize is that if you're focusing on the 5%, okay, it's fine, it's not wrong, but you're missing the huge part of the iceberg. So that's one of the reasons why, as you mentioned in your opening, why I'm known for helping people make more in just 12 weeks than they did in the previous 12 months while winning their lives back. That's one of the reasons, because I teach what everybody else leaves out. I'll give you a quick example of this. I have a program called the 12-week breakthrough, right? I help people make more in 12 weeks than they did in the last 12 months, right? And I had a client named Tamisa who came to me and joined my program. Now, she is a self-described recovered seminar junkie. That's her words, because she was going to all these seminars, making, and she was doing well. She was, doing six figures in her business. So she was doing well, but she kept hitting that income ceiling, right? She just she couldn't break through. And she went to seminar after seminar. And no matter how hard she tried, she just couldn't break through, right? Again, doing well, but couldn't break through. Yeah. So she joined my 12-week breakthrough. In 2 weeks, she tripled her investment. In 2 weeks. And so she says, now I don't have to go to all these seminars anymore. Yay. Thank you, Noah. But I mean, you can watch her video and many, many others. I mean, hundreds of others on our website. That's, again, going back to my point. I'd rather brag about my clients than myself. That's how you know it's a system. So that's, what works for, what worked for Tamisa and so many others is that, I taught her these unconscious habits, right? That highly successful people are doing, but they don't even know they're doing it.
Right.
So that's why I call them the unconscious habits of highly successful people.
Okay, got it. And so what are they? What are these habits?
How much time you got? All right, so I mean, look,
give away all of them. How about just like one or two?
No, it's fine. Look, I mean, that's what my system is. I'm not going to hold up all 24 of my books, but I just want to show you what I mean. Because in my book, it's called Power Habits. See, this is the system right here. I don't know if you can see this picture.
Okay. Yeah.
But if you remember Da Vinci's Man, that's what that's what it looks like. So there are 11 of these power habits, and that is, the system itself. And this is what has helped people make literally over $3 billion over the last 25 plus years. So, one of the most important foundational habits is, what we talked about earlier is affirmations. Did we talk about this last time?
Well, let's go into it. I would love to. I would love to. So, because most people hear about affirmation. So let's talk about the difference.
All right. So the word is affirmations, and it's spelled AFFORMATIONS. Affirmation. And you can go to affirmations.com and you can actually learn more about my affirmations method. So back in 1997, going back to these epiphanies that I had, this was one of them. When I realized that, as you mentioned, we've all heard of affirmations, right? And that's what the gurus have been teaching for decades, right? Just use these positive statements and, it'll change your life. I'm happy, I'm rich, I'm successful. And your brain goes,
not just the gurus, it's everybody.
Right.
No, it's everybody, including me.
Well, that's all we've been taught. It's all we've been taught. So think about this for a second, everybody listening and watching the program. I want you to think about this. Imagine if you wanted to, let's say, build a house. Right? You wanted to build a house. Well, what do you need? Well, you need basically three things. You need the right plan, you need the right tools, and then you need the right support, right? You need, what are we building here, right? And what are we going to use to build it? And then, you need support, you need resources, you need resourcefulness and all these, you need the right support, whether it's you, your family, whoever's you're going to hire, whatever it is, right? So those three things, you can build a house, right? So imagine if you had you knew what you wanted, and then you decided to go to Home Depot and to get the tools to, do what you wanted to do. And you walked into Home Depot and all they had was chainsaws, and you say, well, I need the tools to build my house. Well, we got chainsaws over here. And you go, well, okay, but I need some other things. Okay, well, we got green chainsaws over here. We got yellow chainsaws over here. We got red chainsaws. And you're like, okay, wait a minute. What the heck is going on here? There's only one tool. Right now, there's nothing wrong with a chainsaw. I'm not putting down chainsaws. It's perfectly great if you want to chop down a tree. But if you want to build a house, you want to drive a nail into a wall, let's say, if you want to screw a screw in, you need some other tools, don't you? So this is what I mean by the fact that I invented this additional tool in the realm of human motivation, human mindset, human changing your thinking. All right. So that's what my affirmations method represents. Affirmations are a tool. Now, for some people, they work just fine. For millions of us, they didn't work at all, because I was using them just like most people. I'm happy, I'm rich. I did everything the books told me. Every book says the same thing. Oh, put them on your wall and use emotion. And I did everything. I'm like, I'm rich, I'm happy and successful. No, I'm not. The reality was I'm broke, unhappy, and miserable. Right. So what the heck is going on around here? So it was one day, it was April 24th, 1997. I remember specifically. I was in the shower. I call it in my books, I call it the shower that changed everything. It was the shower that changed everything, right? Because we all have these epiphanies in the shower or the bath, right?
Water does that to me too. Shower.
Goes back to the ancient Greeks. I mean, it's an ancient thing, right? So anyway, I realized that, wait a second, why are we going around making statements we don't believe when the human mind responds automatically to something even more powerful, and that is the power of questions? And so I realized, wait a second, why don't we stop using these statements that we just don't believe and start using empowering questions? So what does it look like? So a classic affirmation. I love to do this, by the way. I'm a keynote speaker as well as a coach. And, in my keynote speeches, I often like to say to my audience members, all right, we're going to use an affirmation just like they taught us. Everybody say, I am rich. Everybody goes, I am rich.
I am rich.
Right. And you know what happens next? Everybody starts laughing. And I go, what are you laughing at? And they go, well, I'm not rich. And I say, but you just said you were. And they go, yeah, but I don't believe it.
There you go. There's the key.
Isn't that the problem with the old method?
Believing it.
It's not that it's wrong. It's just that we don't believe it, right? So the gurus said, well, just repeat it 1,000 million billion cajillion times and then you'll believe it someday. Well, great. If that worked for you, great. But for most of us, it didn't work, right? That's why millions and millions and millions of people are frustrated with the old method, just like I was. So I said, wait a second. What if instead of saying a statement we don't believe, what if we just cut out the middleman and go right to the question? And then I said, well, what would that look like? All right, well, you get this statement, I am rich. And your brain goes, yeah, right. We don't believe it. And so I said, well, if that's the statement, then what would the question be? And then I said, why am I so rich? Why am I so rich? Now, when you ask that question, what immediately starts to happen in your brain? You start to search for the answer.
Yeah.
In fact, you can't not do it. You cannot not do it. That's actually called the embedded presupposition factor of the brain. And that's just a fancy way of saying, when you ask a question, your brain automatically searches for the answer. So I said, how come what if instead of making statements that we don't believe, what if we just cut out the middleman and go right to the question? And then that's when I came up with that. And I said, why am I so rich? Why am I so happy? Why am I enough? Why am I always in the right place at the right time? And I said, I was standing there in the shower, April 1997. I said, holy cow, I think I just invented something. And so I had to give the name. The name that I gave it was what I've already shared with you, Affirmations. Again, AFFORMATIONS. You can go to affirmations.com. And
and
there
you
it is.
trademark
And so that is, what's that?
You trademark that?
I absolutely trademarked it. Yes, that is a circle R there. It's a little hard to see, but I own this word. I created it. I own it. And if anybody, uses it in a way I don't like, I sick my lawyers on them. Simple as that. But anyway, so that is the foundational power habit. So what I realized all those years ago, and have been, of course, teaching my clients ever since, is that this is one of the habits that highly successful people are doing that they don't even know they're doing, number one, and therefore number two, they can never teach you, right? So this is why so many people come to me after they've gone to all the gurus and they're like, no, how come I'm still stuck? How come I'm still hitting my income ceiling? And I'll give you a great example of this, because, we were talking about my head trash book. Again, I promise I won't hold up every book I've written, but
I wanted to talk about that today.
That's great. Absolutely. So I ask all of my, clients or, coaching clients, whether it's one-on-one or group coaching, I ask them, of course, what do they want? What are their goals and so on? But one of the things I also ask them is, how much do you think your head trash is costing you right now? So if you think about it, now we didn't really talk about what head trash is. So let me get to that.
Let's do that.
Okay. So head trash, as I teach it in my books and in my coaching, is the voice in your head that says, I can't do it because. I can't do it because. Now, so for everyone listening, to the program and watching, I want you to think about this 1 second. What are the things that you want in the next 12 months? So just think about that, right? Or you can write them down if you want. Maybe some of you have written goals, because we've heard this a million times, right? Oh, set your goals. We've heard that a million times. And a lot of people do that, right? Set your goals, da, 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 da. Great. So what is it you want? Well, and people, this is what people say. Well, Noah, I want to make more money. I want to write a book. I want to, start my business. I want to grow my business. I want to, take more time off. I want to spend more time with my family. I want to retire my spouse. I want to, lose weight, whatever it is, right? So there's many, many things that we all want, and that's great, right? So whatever those goals are, right? So if you think about your top 3 goals, let's say, but here's the thing that happens that nobody talks about. And that is, for most people, the very, very next thing that happens, I set your goals, right? I want to make more money, write a book, da, 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 right? The very next thing that happens, they say, I can't do it because.
Oh.
Dot, dot, dot. Okay. And then they fill in the blank, right? So you just fill in the blank. Well, Noah, I want to make more money, but I can't do it because I don't have the time. Well, no, I want to write a book, but I don't know where to start.
Yeah, I've heard that about don't have the time is most.
Don't have the time, right? It usually comes down to time, money, and resources. Those are the 3 things that most people usually say. I don't have the time, I don't have the money, and I don't know where to start. So some variation thereof. And then of course you have, oh, my spouse won't let me do it, or I have kids, or I'm, but again, it's all time and money and resources. It all basically comes down to that. All right. So think about that. Now, what I say, what I've been teaching a long time is everything you say after the word because, meaning I can't do it because, is your head trash. And here's the funny thing about that is you will always make yourself right. You're always going to make yourself right.
Yeah, because words are powerful.
Exactly. Yes.
Like a spell.
And so there's an old quote that is attributed to Henry Ford. Henry Ford said, whether you believe you can or believe you can't, you're right. Now, with all respect, with all due respect to Mr. Ford, here's how I say it. Whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you make yourself right. Right? So if I say I want to, write a book, but I can't do it because, you're right. And there's that book not written. Good job. Congratulations. Then counterpoint, I want to write a book, but I'm going to do it anyway because you're going to make yourself right and you'll do it. All right. So the point is head trash. So again, going back to my point, head trash, I can't do it because. So going back to my story. All right. So I was talking with one of my clients named Charles. And I said, Charles, because I ask all my clients this, whether it's one-on-one or group coaching, number 1, what do you want? And number 2, how much is your head trash going to cost you? In other words, if you don't take care of this one problem, and keep in mind, friends, everybody listening, this is the one problem that's causing all your other problems. And there's very few times that you can say that, meaning like there's only one problem, but it's causing this cascade effect that's causing all your other problems. So guess what? If we just get rid of this one problem, all these other problems tend to go away. So I said, how much do you think it's going to cost you if we don't take out your head trash in the next 12 months? Now, without batting an eye, he said $1 million. Noah, if I don't take out this head trash, if I don't fix this one problem, it's easily going to cost me $1 million in the next year. I said, first of all, Charles, it's very common. I hear this every day. People say, no, my head trash has cost me $250,000, $500,000, $1 million or more. Number 1. Number 2, I said, listen, let's do this. You just give me 10% of that $1 million and I will find you $1 million in the next 12 months. In other words, if you give me $1 and I give you $10 back, is that a good deal? He goes, well, yeah, that's a good deal. I said, well, let's do it. So he said, let's do it. So he paid me $100K. I mean, that's 10% of $1 million, right? Now, that's one of the reasons I love working with high achievers because they make decisions quickly and friendly. He didn't dilly-dally. One phone call, $100K. You're welcome. So he said, so I coached him one-on-one for a year, right? Now, as it turns out, and of course, I, walked him through everything. I taught him my process and, he was a great client. As it turns out, I didn't find him $1 million in that 12 months. Instead, I found him $1.8 million in just 10 months. So he gave me $1, I gave him $18 back. Is that a good deal? No, that's a great deal. And in fact, he actually sent me an email recently, said, hey, Noah, guess where I am? I'm on a 7-week vacation with my wife. We just bought a new RV with all this money, right? And he said, this is a dream I've had for years. I've always wanted to travel the country in an RV with my wife. So we took 7 weeks off. So he said, not only do I have more money than I've ever had, thanks to you, I also have more time than I've ever had. So it's not just about working all the time, as I talked about earlier. It's about, yes, having the money, absolutely. But it's really having your life back. It's very
Mm.
exciting.
Yes, that is very exciting. And what a wonderful success story. I've heard that one.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say it doesn't always cost that working with you. You also have other programs that
Absolutely.
you
Yes.
offer. So don't be scared if
Well,
it's
I
out
mean,
of your
that's one-on-one. And
one-on-one. Yeah.
he gets me at the highest. I can only work with 5 people at a time one-on-one
Yeah.
because they get a lot of attention from me. But
Yeah.
yes, you're right. I have group coaching like that 12-week breakthrough
Mhm.
that I talked
Yeah.
about earlier. All right. So the 12-week breakthrough is a group coaching. So yeah,
Mhm.
much more affordable because, in a group, of course, we belay the cost
Yeah.
of the investment, among a group of students at any given time. So but I mean, let me think again. Let's see. He paid me $100K. Okay, that's a lot of money. He made basically 2 million. Where else are you going to get that? I mean, you're going to get that on Wall
Yeah.
Street, crypto, Bitcoin, real estate? I don't think so. Not so much. Not usually.
Right, right. Well, I just wanted to let people know that there's other
Absolutely.
entries to
Absolutely.
working with you, and you also sometimes you do events.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's really great too, online events, and
Yeah, we
also
have the Power Habits Challenge coming up. So actually, we do that
oh,
every month. So the Power Habits Challenge, that's a free event. So yeah,
okay,
price is right for that. So you can just go to habitschallenge.com. But yeah, so there's lots and lots of ways. And going back to something I said earlier,
Mhm.
I just really want to make sure that we help as many people as possible because when I discovered, these things that I discovered, affirmations and power habits and head trash and all these things I've been teaching a long time, it was for me first, because I was so frustrated with what was out there. It just wasn't fixing my problem. But I knew that I wasn't alone. There's lots and lots of people who have the same problem. So for those of you listening, think about the things that frustrate you, the things that are bugging you, or the things that you want to do. Probably lots and lots of other people want that same thing. So that's one of the things that I, say about entrepreneurs is they're people who solve problems for human beings, and that's what's going to make the world a better place.
Yes, I love that, and I have that entrepreneurial spirit too, making the
Yeah.
world a better place. What is the biggest secret of success that most people ignore? Did we already go over that?
Well, yeah, we did because the secret of success that I call it that most people ignore is not getting rid of your head trash. Well,
Not
and
getting
so
rid of
really
it.
it's
Okay.
twofold. Number one, not even knowing that it's there, right?
I
Because
would say that's true
yeah,
because
because if
it's in your subconscious.
that's exactly right. So unless you've heard me speak or read some of my books, like Charles, he had read Power Habits. I mean, in fact, he hadn't even finished reading it. And he called me up and one phone call and he, made that investment right on the spot because he saw the value of it. But the point is that when you look at number one, what is your head trash costing you? So every single one listening to this program could ask themselves that question. Gee, what Noah's saying is really right. I want this, I want that. These are my goals, these are my dreams, these are my aspirations. But every single time I set that goal or I think about that dream, I always think of all the reasons I can't do it. Oh, and you're right. I am making myself right. Maybe I
Mm.
should fix this one problem that's causing all my other problems. Yes, you should. Yes. Good idea.
So you recommend doing that first and then start implementing the systems because then you've cleared the blocks.
Well, it's all in one. So
Oh,
one of
okay.
the reasons that I've helped people make so much money over the last 25 years is because of these two aspects, inner game and outer game. Right. So the inner game is everything, mostly what we've been talking about, today in
Mhm.
this program. In
Yes.
our earlier interview, we
Yes,
looked at the outer game,
we
which
did.
is called my 7-figure expert formula. So when you put those two things together, I mean, you literally become an unstoppable success machine because if you have your inner game going and your outer game going, how can you be stopped? The answer is you can't. However, if you don't have in other words, if you're missing one of those, you're going to have your foot on the brake, right? So, for example, there's a lot of people that really focus a lot on their inner game, and that's great.
Yeah.
But sometimes that causes what I call a happy, evolved, highly evolved broke person.
Hmm.
They're very spiritually evolved and emotionally involved, but they don't have any money. So it's like, it's not bad, but it's like, wouldn't it be nice to have money too? Yeah,
Right.
kind of.
Why not have
So,
it all?
well, yeah. And then so that means you have to really look at focusing on your outer game. Conversely, if you're only working on your outer game and you ignore your inner game, well, that's when you're going to be hitting your income ceiling, like I talked about earlier. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I've helped people go from making 7 figures to 8 figures, from 6 figures to 7, from 5 to 6, so it really doesn't matter where you are. It's just the fact that you've got to put these systems in place.
Yeah. And also, I just wanted to go back to something that we were talking about earlier, that if you're only working on the outer game, you could also start to be stressed and have health problems.
That's right.
So there's so many more benefits to working on the inner game so that you can be successful, stress-free, and looking young, like Noah coming up to his birthday.
I will say that, because when people hear I've helped people make $3 billion over the last 25 years, they assume it's all about marketing and sales.
Right.
And those are important. I mean, you have to, that's what I was calling outer game. But what's amazing, and, I've told several stories to illustrate this, 90% of that money has come from me helping people master their inner game. So yes, you have to do, I mean, like Adam, I think I may have shared that story. We helped him go from being stuck at 4 million for the previous 4 years to over 20 million. That was 100% inner game. Again, that was another one-on-one client of mine.
Right.
But I mean, we never, ever talked about outer game. We just, because we didn't need to. But we definitely needed to talk about inner game. And that is the thing that enabled him to get that, as we like to call it, that hockey stick growth, right? Meaning, you're going along like this and all of a sudden, that's where the magic is when you master your inner game.
Yeah, that makes sense, because he already had the systems in place to get to millions, but then he was hitting a ceiling.
That's right.
And really, I think a lot of people hit that ceiling. I think we all have the opportunity to work on the inner game. It's all about spiritual growth and healing one layer and then getting to the next level. So, yeah.
That's right.
Well, how can you help our audience make this the best year yet?
Well, I mean, of course, the Head Trash book is free. We just ask you to cover the shipping. So you have the link for that, correct? So I'll just hold up the book again, and there it is.
I can put the link in the show notes.
Yep. So the book is free. You're getting your autographed copy there soon, or you should have it today. But there it is. Get rid of your head trash about money. And of course, this is available on Amazon too. But we have a special website where the book is free. We just ask you to cover the shipping, and of course, we ship anywhere on planet Earth. So that's where I would start. I mean, honestly, that's where most people start, is that head trash book, because as I just said, that's the one problem causing all your other problems. Also, if you go to habitschallenge.com, that's our free 5-day Power Habits Challenge. We do that every month. So that is really, really awesome. And I get to teach you and help you, there in a group setting live. So that's really powerful. And of course, if you want to start using my AFFORMATIONS method, just go to AFFORMATIONS.com. I have over 200 URLs. I won't give you all of those either. And I won't hold up my 24 books. I can't help it. I get out of bed, a book falls out. I can't help myself.
Yeah. Oh, that's so wonderful. Well, I mean, as many links as you want to include, maybe like 3 or 4,
I think I gave enough already. So that's plenty to get started. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's been such a pleasure, having you back on my show, hearing about your latest book, Getting Rid of Head Trash About Money, and your programs. And I'll put your website and how to connect with you in the show notes. Any last words?
It was great to be back, and always a pleasure to spend time with you, Carissa. You're a great interviewer, and I love your mission, and I'm just very privileged and happy to be part of it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Noah. Well, thanks again for joining me on the Zen Success Show. Have a blessed day.
You too.
That's it for today's episode of Zen Success. Head on over to iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you listen to shows. Subscribe to the show and share with friends. Be sure to head on over to ZenSuccessShow.com to help you on your Zen success journey, and join us on the next episode. May you find your own Zen success in life.
Since 2011, American Giant has been making everyday clothing with extraordinary effort. Not in far-off factories, but right here in the USA. We obsess over fabrics, fit, and details, because if you're going to wear it every day, it should feel great and last for years. From the cut of a hoodie to the finishing of a seam, nothing is overlooked. Our supply chain is tight-knit and local, which means less crisscrossing the country and more care in every step. The result is durable clothing, t-shirts, hoodies, sweatpants, and denim that become part of your life season after season. This isn't fast fashion, it's clothing made with purpose by people who care as much about how it's made as how it fits. Get 20% off your first order with code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com with code STAPLE20.